Hey everyone! Today I'm going to share a sample blog that I was working on, which focuses on transforming my Medium blogs into podcasts. But these aren't just any podcasts, they're end to end AI generated podcasts created from my Medium blogs. This is a quick guide to a collaborative notebook I've crafted, which contains all the necessary code for this process. It involves several aspects, starting with fetching blogs from my Medium profile to build context around my previous writings. The process is not merely about generating a podcast, it's about creating context for the podcast generation, and it's multi speaker. This means you can include as many speakers as you'd like, though typically podcasts feature 2 to 3 speakers. This tutorial covers the whole process. The tech stack I've used includes LangChain, 11 Labs for AI audio, Gemini for creating scripts from those podcasts, and LensDB as a vector store for retrieving context about my previous blogs. This context retrieval ensures the model recognizes topics I've previously addressed. Understanding the context of my previous blogs is crucial, so I've built a vector database to store everything. The initial step involves installing all the necessary libraries. For this project, I've used 11 Labs and a company called Smallest AI for AI models. I've experimented with Indian voices from Smallest AI and various models from 11 Labs. Here, you'll find some quick installation commands and a variety of helper functions that are included in the notebook. These functions are essential for creating the podcast. The first key function is generate conversation. This function, which calls on a language model, uses the input data from your article to generate the podcast, also incorporating the podcast's title. Moreover, it allows you to specify the number of speakers and their names. This means your podcast could include greetings like Hi Shresh or Hi Arjun, making it more personal. The generate conversation function is quite detailed. Next, we have a function for extracting Medium blogs from your profile, which is essential if you want to. If your Medium profile isn't behind a paywall, the function will scrape your homepage feed using your profile URL and create a vector store from that. If your content is behind a paywall, it will only extract limited preview information. Essentially, it captures only the preview information of your blog content. Then there's a function called Synthesize Speech Labs. In this part, we are passing the 11 Labs URL and obtaining an API request. I've saved my API key in the notebook, but you can secure it when you develop a full-fledged product. We have the Synthesize Speech 11 Lab function, and similarly, there's Synthesize Speech Smallest, which utilizes smallest AI models. For Indian voices, I prefer using Smallest AI. You input the text for the speech generation, voice ID, and speaker name. This setup is for accurate mapping so that everything aligns correctly. Lastly, we have a generate audio function that integrates the previous functions. If you have multiple If your script includes multiple speakers and their content, this function processes each speaker's lines sequentially, generating audio for each. Additionally, there's an extract keyword function to glean relevant info about previous blogs from the vector store. Then there's the save conversation function, which stores the audio files in a JSON format. Essentially, it saves the script to a JSON file. The merge audio function follows. It takes all the separate audio files generated line by line and combines them into a complete end to end podcast. To configure, first determine how many speakers you need. It could be 3, 4, or any number, really. After deciding on speaker names, choose different voices for each. For instance, Shrest might have one voice, Arjun another, and Keith yet another. To use 11 Labs, obtain their API and corresponding voice IDs. If opting for smallest, select their voice IDs. The choice depends on whether the speaker is male or female, and of course, you will need an API key. That's it for setting up. The first step is creating a vector store from your profile. With that and the API key set, you can paste your text blog or a URL, extract relevant keywords, and find similar topics in your context. Then simply use the helper functions you've created. Generate conversations, create multiple audios, and finally produce the final version. That's how you build an AI podcast generator. You can create an AI podcast with multiple speakers, allowing for any number of participants you choose. You can also incorporate different genders using both male and female voices. Integrate any language model you prefer. Any AI voice can be integrated. It's all about setting the right parameters. This collab notebook should help guide you through the process. I hope this gives you a concise overview of using this notebook to create your podcast. Until next time, take care.